Hey St. Catharines, Mayor Matt Cisco here. Welcome back to another episode of Talk STC. It's great to be here in your living rooms having a chat with folks that are making a difference in our community. Before we get into our episode today, a couple things I want to talk about. First things first, I want to say thank you to the community for being involved as heavily as they have been in the budget process. This year's budget has had some good conversation, some lively debate. We're not quite finished the process yet, but we are going to be finished the process soon. And I do appreciate all of the feedback we've gotten, whether it was before Christmas, during the budget kiosks in different locations across the city, the feedback through email and through the Engage STC portal. It's always appreciated. I know council as well as myself sincerely thank every member of the community who took the time out of their day to give us feedback on what they wanted to see in the budget, what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, and gave us some guidance. This has been our first year with the multi-year budget, 24 to 26. And the process has been a new one for all of us, but I do appreciate everything that's come from the community. It's been very helpful to all of us. A few things as we are turning the page from January into February, a few events coming up that I did want to make sure everybody's aware of. We have the 25th annual Took Tuesday Mayor's Pancake Breakfast. That's going to be on February 6th. From 7 to 9 a.m. at Market Square in downtown St. Catharines in support of community care and raising the roof. It's always a good time. I know I appreciate being able to get up nice and early, hang out, have some coffee, some pancakes. I always get my special toque, and I know members of the community enjoy coming out for it as well. So if you have the time and you have the inclination, February the 6th, Tuesday, February the 6th, for the Took Tuesday Raising the Roof support. The Mayor's Pancake Breakfast, always fun. We also have the Big Brothers, Big Sisters Bowling for Kids' Sake. It's coming up. I have challenged my municipal counterparts across Niagara. That's going to be on February 27th. I'm challenged to all of the different municipal governments to get out and help raise some money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. If you want more information or you want to be able to donate, the community can get involved. Niagara.bigbrothersbigsisters.ca is where you head. That's also always a good time. I am a terrible bowler. I managed to injure myself, which makes me feel really bad given that I like to pretend I'm an athlete of some sort. Bowling should not be the thing that knocks me out, but it does on a consistent basis. So looking forward to that and embarrassing myself with another low score. And finally, the State of the City is coming up. February 27th, I hope you'll be able to join me at the State of the City address in partnership with the GNCC. That's the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. This year's event will be at Club Roma. It's starting at 11 a.m. It's going until 2 p.m. Lunch will be served on the 27th of February. If you're interested in getting tickets, you can head over to gncc.ca, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. So speaking of upcoming events, my first guest today will be Holly Calvert from the Niagara Health Foundation. She's going to join me to talk about the annual Niagara Health Foundation Gala, which is coming up on February 24th. So we're going to have a chat about that and other upcoming events that are going to occur for the Niagara Health Foundation. And then after that, we're going to be joined by staff from who we knew as Heddle Marine to talk about their recent rebranding to Ontario Shipyards. 35 years of growth and success under the Heddle name, and we're looking forward to this next phase for them as they continue on. Talk about the importance of the marine strategy, not just in St. Catharines and Niagara, but across Ontario, but also the recent investments by Ontario Shipyards into our local economy. But as I said, we're going to get started today with my first guest, Holly Calvert. She is the events manager with the Niagara Health Foundation. Holly, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been with the foundation for 4 years as the events manager. There's a number of really amazing events. I know I've had the chance to take part in with Niagara Health Foundation, the annual Hospital Gala, which we're going to talk more about. But then also the Kids Ultimate Challenge, the Big Move Cancer Ride, the Welland Elimination Draw, and all of those signature events. What happens with the funds that are raised from those?
So the funds that are raised from the signature events are actually used to purchase equipment in the hospitals. As the hospital needs to purchase more updated equipment, new technology, or even replace some existing equipment, all those funds need to come from the community. So we use these events to raise the funds in order to make those purchases.
Well, and that leads me into another question. Recently, I had the opportunity to join Niagara Health Foundation staff, local dignitaries. Very exciting announcement. The St. Catharines site of the Niagara Health System is going to be rebranded to the Murata Family Hospital because of a $15 million donation.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about the excitement, because I know that's been an ongoing process.
Yeah, no, that was such an incredible gift to come in. We are so thrilled to work with the Murata family and have them give this really generous gift. And $15 million is really going to be life-changing for some of our patients at the hospital sites. And we're excited to use those funds to update our equipment and make new purchases, and really thrilled to rename the hospital the Murata Family Hospital.
Yeah, I think a lot of us in St. Catharines are excited as well. It's been a little bit awkward just to refer to it as the St. Catharines site.
Yeah.
So thankful for that. But you raise an interesting point, and it's something I don't think is necessarily understood. When the provincial government, who has responsibility for funding healthcare, when they are building new hospitals, when they're funding the system, they're funding the bricks and the mortar, they're funding the people.
Correct.
Where does the rest of that money have to come from?
So exactly, the building itself, the electricity and all of that, that's all funded through the government, but the equipment pieces are not. And so when we need new beds, when we need new ultrasound machines, anything like that, that needs to be funded through the community. And so we use a variety of methods, generous donors like the Murata family, through our events. We do our community lottery that runs throughout the year. So things like that are how we bring in the funds to make those purchases.
Well, and I know through my golf tournament, we were able to raise funds, and we've entered into a funding agreement. I've had great conversations with staff at the Niagara Health Foundation. One of my favorite city councillors in St. Catharines, Matt Harris, happens to work for the Health Foundation.
Yes.
Give us an idea, because I know I've had the opportunity, we're going to talk about the gala in a minute, but last year at the gala, listening, the number that got tossed out to outfit a room, $25,000.
Yes. And so for the rooms at the new hospitals is $25,000 was a minimum, just to kind of put in the bed and the chair and the IV pole and things like that. So I think equipment is a lot more expensive than people realize. It's not like going to the store and just buying any bed. I know from just working at the foundation, a standard hospital bed is $10,000, and that's not a nursing bed, maternity ward, or any sort of specialty bed. So the funds are really important, and we really do rely on events and like community events like the one that you threw, your golf tournament. Those are fantastic for help bringing in funds and bringing awareness to why it's important to support the foundation.
Well, and I'll give credit to you and your colleagues at the Niagara Health Foundation. You do a good job, I think, of explaining to the community why it's important, but also finding fun ways to be able to raise money to do good for a cause, but also to get out into the community and have a great time. So speaking of a great time, the gala is upcoming. Give us the details. When, where?
Yeah, so it's coming up on February 24th, and we're hosting it at the Fallsview Casino Resort in the Grand Hall. This is our second year hosting it there. Last year we had an incredible time. It was an amazing venue. We're really excited to be back there again on the 24th of February. Fantastic.
Any sort of theme going along with this year?
Yeah, so this year's gala we're calling the Hustle for Healthcare Gala, and it is a 70s disco theme. Last year we actually had a 1920s speakeasy theme, and it went over really, really well. People had a great time. They loved kind of getting into the theme. So we thought we'd kind of stay along those lines, and we went with the 70s era, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So what do you think the chances are of me being able to find like size 13 platform disco shoes?
I think probably higher than you'd think it would be.
I know, it's terrifying. I may actually have to do it. I will say, and this is kind of a funny story from last year, so my wife wasn't able to come.
Okay.
And I kind of forced my chief of staff, Brianne Whitty, to come with me instead. You have never seen someone be so unenthusiastic until they got there, and then wound up having an incredible time. She just kept talking. She's not a gala person, the rest of it. But then when we actually got there, like, it was a lot of fun last year.
Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, is the mayor of Niagara Falls going to be hosting again this year?
So Mayor Diodati will not be hosting. He will have some opportunity to come up and address the room, but we do have a different MC for the evening this year.
Let me just say, on behalf of all St. Catharines residents, a sigh of relief that Diamond Jim won't be hosting this year. Moving on.
Yes.
So the theme is the 70s. give me an idea. How many guests actually dress in the theme? How many are you expecting?
I mean, I expect a good amount. So last year we put out, we encourage all guests to dress in theme, and it's not mandatory but encouraged. And we were really surprised. We're over, I think 90% of guests were fully in theme for the 1920s era. So I have pretty high expectations for about the same numbers for the disco era. We've had some feedback so far, people that are really excited to bust out their bell bottoms and their platform shoes. So I'm hoping that we have the same sort of turnout as last year and have most of the people lean into the theme.
Okay, so details on tickets. How do people get tickets? How much are they?
Yeah, so the tickets are $275 a ticket, and they're tables of 10. So we do encourage guests to gather up, 9 of their closest friends to attend. They can be purchased online at hospitalgala.com. And it's going to be a great night. We're going to have an amazing meal. We have a silent auction, a Fab 5 raffle, beautiful decor. We have live entertainment. We have a band coming that's going to do all disco music for the night. So it's going to be a really great evening, and we hope people will join us.
Kudos to you for getting hospitalgala.com. That's a bit of a get there on the internet.
Yes.
Okay, so the gala's coming up. That's fantastic. But you have other events during the year. Tell me a little bit about what other events are upcoming.
Yeah, so in every June we host our Kids Ultimate Challenge, and the Kids Ultimate Challenge is like an obstacle course mud run for kids, and it takes place at Burgoyne Woods in St. Catharines. This is our largest event of the year, where we host 1,000 challengers and see 3,000 to 4,000 people on site that day at Burgoyne Woods. All funds raised at this support the Children's Health Unit at Niagara Health, and it's a really great day and a lot of fun. We usually raise about $100,000 per year for the Children's Health Unit, and it's our most exciting event of the year.
So I will just say I've had forced my kids to do it a couple of times. I had to force them the first time. After that, it was pretty simple. It was an amazing obstacle course. When it comes to volunteers, how many volunteers do you need?
So for that event, we usually use about 125 to 150 volunteers. So it's a significant amount. So usually around March, we'll start outreach looking for people to come out. So we encourage anybody that, age 12 and up that has a free day and wants to come and join us. We need people to monitor the obstacles, to help out at registration, to man our fun zone because we have bouncy castles. So a lot of manpower for that, and we really count on the community to come together and help us out.
So I will say, as a parent of a high school aged kid,
Yeah.
I like to remind parents that this is your opportunity to force them out the door and get those community service hours that they need and they know they need, but they probably haven't talked to you about yet, and they might be a little bit behind on the collection. Is there any easy way to reach out to the foundation when volunteering comes?
Honestly, the best way is if you go to the foundation website, which is NiagaraHealthFoundation.com. On there, it will have information about the events. Each event has their own website, and on there, there'll be a link to sign up and register for it. The 2 events that we need a ton of volunteers are both our Kids Ultimate Challenge, and also we have our Big Move Cancer Ride in September. But yeah, NiagaraHealthFoundation.com will have all the information about upcoming community events and our signature events.
Fantastic. Holly, thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us today.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to the gala, but the Kids Challenge as well, the Big Move Cancer Ride. We talked about, didn't get a chance to get to the Welland elimination draw, but maybe I'll leave that to Mayor Campion. He can get that one out into the community.
Sure, absolutely.
But thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you do, because it is absolutely necessary for our hospital system, and it's contributing to better health outcomes for all the people who live in Niagara. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, St. Catharines, welcome back. Very special guest today that I get to have a chat with. One of my 12 favorite city councilors, but one of my 2 favorite downtown councilors, I should say, City Councilor Robin McPherson. Robin, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excited to have you here today. I like to tell this story. I had a very good mayoral election. It was a great margin of victory, and a lot of people say, wow, you won a really big victory. And I try to tell people, I became the mayor because of 106 votes. And this is a difficult story to tell, and I know Robin loves it when I tell her. But in the 2018 election, when I was running for St. Patrick's Ward, I beat Robin by 106 votes. And I had been very clear, if my political career ended that night, I could live with that. But I was very lucky to continue to be the St. Patrick's Ward City Councilor. And I got to know Robin a lot better during that campaign, although I had met her actually originally my very first election campaign in 2010. She was the first conversation with a resident that I remembered having. Still remember to this day. We introduced each other because we kind of knew one another from Twitter.
Yep.
You were Ugly Shirt.
Still am.
You introduced yourself at the door as Ugly Shirt. But we had a great conversation about issues in the downtown. And it's something that stuck with me a long time. But we got to know each other after that.
Yeah.
Downtown Association and working on things in the community. That 2018 election, though, beyond being one of the scariest moments of my life, it taught me a lot about who you were, because there were never hard feelings after the fact, or at least nothing you ever expressed to me. And so I was really happy when I moved on to the region in 2022, and you filled the position at council and then got elected in 2022 during the regular election. So with that intro, tell me a little bit.
An intro.
I thought it was pretty good. Tell me a little bit about how you got in. I should say, we're not in the studio today.
No.
We are in our home, the
Yes.
place where we live, St. Catharines City Council chambers. So tell me a little bit, what brought you to this place? How did you wind up here?
I never thought I would end up here, especially after I lost by 106 votes. And it took, I will say, a while to get over the loss.
Yes.
Now it's a fun story to tell, because we're both here. You're the mayor. I'm sitting in your seat, in fact. But it wasn't something I ever intended. I was always involved with, or got involved really as soon as we moved back to St. Catharines, my partner and I, with city committees, the Heritage Committee, the Downtown Committee, Downtown Association, that sort of thing. And getting involved that way, I always thought that would be the way I would be involved. And then I got involved with Mayor Senzik's original campaign where you stole my hashtag, and that was...
I did. I hijacked your hashtag for a competing campaign.
You did, and that still hurts.
You should feel good, though. That hashtag has actually become
it has.
a city brand. Hashtag Our Home STC. Check it out if you have a chance.
Yeah, there is that sense of pride at the time. When you hijacked it, it was very painful. Again, over it. And Walter was encouraging, and in conversations with you, there was some encouragement. Maybe think about it. Think about taking that step. And then once I lost by 106 votes, I vowed that I would never. I'm like, done. Not going to do it. But once with you moving up to the region and being appointed and kind of sitting around the horseshoe, I enjoyed it. I actually love being a councillor. I am actually somewhat surprised at how much I love doing it, because I'm an introvert. I like to, be in the background, but being a councillor is a really great honor to be doing it and to be able to be part of the decision-making process and really getting to know the community even better.
So I know you have a number of different passions, things that you're really trying to push here at City Hall. We're going to talk about the micro grant program in a couple of minutes, but tell me a little bit about some of the other issues that drive you. You're intimately involved with the downtown, but that's not the only thing either.
No, it isn't. I mean, there's, I think when it comes to the community, and it is the driving force of I want to engage people. I want people to become engaged in the process. So any opportunity in any kind of organization that I can talk to or be involved in, to get people involved, maybe they don't want to run for council, but to be involved in a city committee, really involved in the downtown. But as well, I'm a business owner in the city, so I'm involved in the chamber and that sort of thing. But the environment, I care about the streetscape, I care about planning. Planning is, I think, if I had the choice or the hindsight, I would have gone into the world of planning.
That makes two of us. I don't know. Did you play SimCity as a kid as well?
No, didn't know. But I'm always fascinated. I'm fascinated, it started really with the architecture and the heritage of it and understanding how cities have evolved and getting involved in seeing how the city of St. Catharines started as this teeny tiny little place and we slowly swallowed other municipal areas.
Yes.
People are still bitter about that, but seeing how
I'm going to jump in. I wouldn't call it bitterness. I would call it pride in their communities.
Pride in their communities. Yes, you're right. It's a solid pride in their community, but seeing how cities evolve and then learning more about planning, learning more about how the built environment impacts so many parts of our our lives, whether it's mental health, physical health, just overall engagement with your neighbor and the communities. That's also a part of it.
It's funny, you make that comment, and like I said, I think a lot of times, I went to school for engineering. I did mining engineering, so I always like to joke, like other people learn how to build things, I learned how to blow them up. But if I had to do it again, though, I think civil engineering with an eye towards urban planning would have been the thing. And I think that's one of the things that happens when you sit around this horseshoe is you start to learn more about how cities are built, and you realize, A, it's fascinating, but B, we took a lot of very strange turns over the last 75 years, and we're only now starting to realize how to fix some of the mistakes that were made. So I think that's a credit to you and a credit to all of our new councillors, because I think everybody is coming around to that necessity.
It's a really interesting, you don't realize how much planning impacts every part of your day.
Yeah. So the microgrant program, we have that here in St. Catharines. It's, well, tell us a little bit about what was the driving force for you bringing it, and what are you hoping it's going to accomplish?
So the reason I brought it forward and I asked for, was hoping that it could happen is we have a lot of really active neighborhood groups. We see it all the time with smaller community groups and even 1 or 2, 3 people wanting to do an event in their neighborhood, in the community, and they don't have that funding source. They're not a not-for-profit. They just may not have access to small amounts of money that are going to make a huge difference. And I was lucky enough to, with a couple of things, and you were part of it as well, a small project called Walk STC, where we put signs downtown, and I probably was obnoxiously pushy about it.
Obnoxiously pushy is a good way to put it, yeah. But it was a good idea.
Yeah, and luckily I had your support. I also had the support of the Downtown Development and Revitalization Committee, and there was a small bit of funding that went to making that happen, and the positive impacts that kind of spun off of that. There was a photography exhibit. There were people walking downtown, and even neighboring communities have kind of taken that program and created bike Pelham and that sort of thing. And that was a small grant of money. So with that, knowing what it did for me as an individual, having that available to our groups in the city, to me was just a really logical step, because it takes a lot of time and effort to create a big event. But when you want to just try something, you need kind of a safe place to fall. I'm hoping what this funding will do for people.
Well, and so, important for people to know, within St. Patrick's Ward, which it encompasses the downtown, but I always tell people, it's, I think, the only urban, suburban, rural ward in the entire city, because you have the downtown urban, then you have the suburban, and then you have the rural areas all the way out to the west edge of the city. There are a couple of really quality neighborhood associations, and I know in all of their cases, had something like this existed, it might have made getting up and getting started and getting running a lot easier. And talk a little bit about, you've got the Fitzgerald Neighborhood Association, you've got the Hague Neighbors.
Hague Neighborhood. There is a Martindale group as well. There's the Woodruff Neighbors. Trying to think if there's, I think that's it in the neighborhood groups.
That's pretty good. 4 neighborhood associations in one ward.
Like, it's really amazing, and I think it's a testament to the neighborhoods that they saw something that needed, that there was an opportunity to bring the neighborhoods together and also kind of elevate and celebrate what happens within each of those neighbors. The Fitz and the Hague, because they're side by side, they've come together to do an Easter egg hunt. They've done skating rinks. And even in Woodruff, they do a really cool Halloween event. Martindale's a little, maybe not as tightly organized yet, but they're really working on it. And so if these small amounts of funding, so the funding ranges between $500 and $1,200. It's across the city, and it can be for anything. If there's, if there's a cooking demonstration that people want to share, we have a lot of newcomers coming into the city, and a lot in Fitz and Hague. And so if there's an opportunity for them to share a cooking experience or an Indigenous, we attended an Indigenous event a little while ago that was at the Russell Street Community Center. That's another opportunity for just those small amounts of funding. So it's, to me, I'm hoping that it will blossom into much larger community events, but it gives them just that little bit of funding.
Well, and I think it's interesting when you talk about those community organizations and the neighborhood groups, a lot of times they're the ones who wind up driving change.
Yep.
Like we have an outdoor community-led rink program, and that came entirely, and I remember because I was the counselor with Councillor Carrie Porter,
Yep.
We got approached by now Councillor Caleb Ratzlaff, your partner,
Yeah.
with the Fitzgerald Group saying, listen, we want to set up a rink, we want to do it by the book, we want to put it in a city park, but we're going to run it, we're going to deal with it. And there was a lot of work that had to be done to figure out how to make that possible. But it's led to now, we have a number of groups across the city, up in the north end in Port Dalhousie, who are doing their own community rink some years. But it's also pushed the city to start rethinking about, okay, how do we deal with these volunteer organizations? Because they're not businesses. In a lot of cases, they're not registered not-for-profits, so you can't treat them like they are able to give charitable receipts and everything else. But we want to find a way to integrate those things. So having those neighborhood groups has really, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years, spurred a lot of change in the way the city deals with the community and makes it easier for those groups.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like you said, those are the kind of groups, a lot of change comes from grassroots, ground up. And because it's not that people around City Hall don't want to change, it's that it's not always as easy when you're trying to do it from within. Sometimes it takes that outside voice and the outside group to say, no, we want to do this. We need to do this.
Yeah.
No. So I'm hoping that it'll go well.
I've got faith. Robin, thank you so much for coming in and chatting today. I appreciate it. And like I said, one of my 2 favorite downtown councillors, one of my 12 favorite city councillors overall.
Well,
You'll take it.
I'm working my way up.
You're working on it. St. Catharines, we'll be right back after this. St. Catharines, thank you for joining us on another episode of Talk STC. I want to thank Holly Calvert from the Niagara Health Foundation. I want to thank Councillor Robin McPherson from the St. Patrick's Ward in St. Catharines. I appreciate you letting me into your homes. I look forward to being back with you on the next episode of Talk STC.